They killed Nip too. Let's not forget, homie. They killed Nipsey Hussle. Eric Holder was not a lone actor.
He up there wilding.
Yeah.
He finna let people know he was hitting Nip baby mama. You see it's coming out. Cause you know Cassie and her was best friends.
I was educated in music. That's what the production company does. You know, that's what the label do. I was paying for rent. I was a hustler.
Wack 100 just dropped a bomb that most people wouldn't dare touch. He said Nipsey Hussle didn't get taken out over some gang beef. It was way deeper than that. According to Wack, folks in the music industry wanted Nipsey silenced, and he's pointing fingers at Diddy. Yeah, Wack is hinting that Puff might have been backed into a corner and had to make a deadly call. This isn't the first time Wack stirred the pot either, so what exactly is he saying about Nip, Diddy, and the dark side of the industry? Wack has been running his mouth about a certain video he claims he saw, a tape involving Nip doing something explicit, something real damaging. He won't ever show the footage, but every time he even mentions it, the internet loses its mind. People are torn. Some swear Wack is just making stuff up for attention, while others think he's dropping coded warnings. Wack says that this video was being used to control Nipsey while he was still alive. He's not talking about gang politics here. He's talking about high-level manipulation. That's the kind of shady game people already suspect Diddy of playing. And let's not forget, Diddy and Nipsey did work together. Even platforms like Vlad TV, who never shy away from exposing dirt, said they got their hands on a photo but chose not to post it out of respect for Nipsey. So now people are asking what's real and what's all smoke. Whatever the real story is, one thing's for sure. Wack 100 is going to be Wack 100. He might have been pushing a bigger point here. This isn't just about Nipsey. It's about how the whole game is rigged. There's a system behind the scenes, a network of gatekeepers in the industry pulling strings, protecting certain people and shutting down the ones who won't play along. When Wack brings up Diddy, he doesn't spell it out, but he sure throws out enough hints to make you wonder. He's implying these so-called power players might be moving as part of something way bigger than what we see.
He up there wilding.
Yeah.
He finna let people know he was hitting Nip baby mama. You see it's coming out. Cause you know Cassie and her was best friends.
Wack has got that slick talk. He throws out bits and pieces, never the full story, just enough to spark chaos. Sometimes it feels like he's dodging heat himself, like he's shifting eyes away from his own moves. Other times it feels like he's sending coded shots and warning people who know what's really going on. But ever since he started talking about Nipsey again, folks online have been trying to connect all the dots, trying to figure out what's real, what's fake, and who's hiding what.
Oh, we in here finishing up this Nipsey in stores February 16th.
Yeah, victory lap.
Victory lap.
Sound like a bad boy one of them things.
One of them classics.
Some people think Wack 100 might have accidentally exposed how blackmail really goes down in the music world, how artists get trapped with secrets and threats hanging over their heads. Others say he's just chasing clout, trying to keep his name buzzing by dragging legends into the drama. If you've been watching him, you know this is Wack's lane. He lives for controversy. He's always on Clubhouse or popping up on podcasts, name dropping like it's a sport, and keeping his name in the mix. He's gone back and forth with everybody from Amber Rose to Gunna, but when he starts talking about Nipsey and Diddy, that's when folks really lean in. Every time Wack opens his mouth, it's like he drops a grenade. Just a few weeks ago, he said something wild, claimed we might hear from Diddy soon, in court. And according to Wack, Diddy might even admit he had a thing with Nipsey. Then he went even further. He didn't hold back at all when he brought up rumors about Diddy and Lauren London, too. That's bold. And the timing is super messy. Wack brought this all up while Diddy's already deep in legal trouble with lawsuits, claims, and jaw-dropping testimonies hitting headlines non-stop. Wack says the link between Lauren and Diddy came through Cassie, Diddy's ex, who's now at the center of his court drama. Apparently, Lauren and Cassie were close. So Wack is basically hinting that Lauren might have been involved in those infamous freak-off parties, too.
We gotta go back to the break. We're gonna go back to the break. We're gonna clap again. I'm gonna clap all night. Yeah. I would. Find me out different places. You spoke by the door instead of attraction. Double back there. Lauren, I cracked you up.
Wack even claimed that Lauren was the one who introduced Nipsey to Diddy, and that twist right there adds a whole new layer to the madness. Of course, Wack didn't drop any receipts, no proof, no footage, but still, it makes you wonder, if Diddy did ever get involved with Lauren, could he really have gone that far over jealousy? Could things have gotten deadly? Let's not forget, there was that confirmed situation where Diddy reportedly blew up Kid Cudi's car because he was getting too close to Cassie. That's not just emotional, that's dangerous. Diddy has got a reputation for being mad possessive, and the streets have been whispering about his temper for years. So would he cross a line like that with Nipsey? It's a wild question, but Wack's throwing it out there heavy. Things only get murkier from here. One key moment Wack keeps clinging to is testimony from Capricorn Clark, Diddy's former assistant. She said Lauren was present at a gathering where Diddy was allegedly controlling Cassie.
Says, yes, Mrs. London, Lauren London, was there. Okay. Chef Jordan was also in the other room. I ain't gonna lie, Wack. I thought you was just talking.
No direct mention of anything with Lauren and Diddy, but Wack took that and ran with it. Even DJ Academics called him out, saying, "I thought you were just talking trash." But Wack doubled down hard. He used that same testimony as his so-called proof that Lauren and Diddy might have been closer than anyone thought. That classic "I told you so" vibe. Wack is just waiting to say it. Some folks really believe he's dropping hints about real secrets that could explode later, but others feel like he crossed a major line, especially dragging Lauren into the chaos and suggesting that Nip's death might be connected to Diddy. But could there actually be more under the surface? Let's rewind and look deeper into that relationship between Diddy and Nipsey. On the outside, it looked like just another music collab.
You know, I came and pressed play on Puff. I let him hear the whole album, top to bottom. You know, I look at Puff like a Quincy Jones or like a Berry Gordy.
But if you scratch past the surface, things start looking a lot more suspicious. Industry secrets, hidden power plays, and maybe even some shady dealings behind the scenes. Now let's talk about Nipsey. He wasn't one of those artists playing puppet for the industry. Nah, Nip was all about ownership, independence, and giving back to his people. He moved like a real boss. And that kind of energy shook up the system. Nip was the type to tell artists, own your masters, invest in your block, and don't fall for the industry traps. That message right there made him a huge threat to the gatekeepers in power. He wasn't just rapping, he was teaching people how to move smart and not get played. And that made some very powerful people real uncomfortable. Diddy has been a major player in the game for decades, credited with shaping the business side of hip-hop. But lately that shine has been clouded by non-stop scandal. And when it comes to his connection with Nipsey, there's way more to unpack than people think.
Puff taste was always like Premier. And so, you know, I just was like, it'd be dope.
Diddy had his hands on Nipsey's final album, Victory Lap. This wasn't some quick collab or favor. Nipsey personally reached out to Diddy for help leveling up the project. He wasn't just asking for beats. He wanted real mentorship, both musically and on the business side. Nip gave Diddy props for his experience building artists from the ground up and said the man had a solid ear for music. But Nip also understood the industry's dark side. He knew that behind every platinum album, there's often stuff going on that has nothing to do with music. There was mutual respect between them, at least on the surface. After Nipsey's tragic death, Diddy publicly supported Lauren London and even helped with the funeral arrangements. That moment looked heartfelt, but it also raised eyebrows for some. Because here's the thing, Nipsey never wanted to play by the industry's rules. He didn't let himself be controlled, and that independent mindset made him dangerous to folks who need control to stay on top.
Yeah, listen to what I'm saying in my interviews, learn me, get in your Puff Daddy the producer bag and throw me some alley-oops, I'ma catch him. And that was like the original combo.
Nipsey was all about doing it his way. No puppets, no middlemen, just straight up ownership. And that made him a major problem for anyone who profits off manipulation. Nipsey wasn't just talking about change, he was out here living it. That kind of integrity hits different, and it might have rubbed some powerful people the wrong way, especially if Diddy and his circle really do have some behind-the-scenes network built on secrets and control. So yeah, the relationship between Nip and Puff is way more complicated than it looks on the surface. On one hand, Diddy supported Nip's vision, helped with Victory Lap, and was there during real emotional moments. But on the other hand, that same connection is now tangled up in everything wild being said about Diddy right now. The lawsuits, the dark parties, the whispers about manipulation and shady power moves. It's got people looking at their past collab in a whole new light. And this saga isn't wrapped yet. More people have started speaking up about Nipsey's closeness to Diddy. One of them is Gene Deal, the former head of security for Bad Boy. This man was deep in that world. He saw things behind the curtain most folks could only imagine. Now Gene is saying straight up, Nipsey's death might not be as clean cut as it seemed. He's not yelling conspiracy, but he definitely feels like Nip made a dangerous move by getting too close to Diddy.
He said, I wanted that same feel as life after death. That same feel was that Biggie got murdered.
It's got people asking questions for real. And here's a wild twist. Nipsey once said he wanted his project to carry the same energy as Biggie's life after death.
That's one of the things I love about Biggie catalog is, you know, it was always like a tag team energy on them records. And before I finished the album, I took it to Puff and I was just like...
Gene's theory is that Diddy took that way too literally. Gene Deal said Nipsey straight up told Diddy he wanted that Biggie sound for his project, the same legendary vibe Diddy helped craft on Biggie's Life After Death album.
Was one to say, and Biggie Smalls said it, you nobody till somebody kills you.
And it wasn't just talk. Diddy actually got involved in Victory Lap, and you can even hear his voice on the track Young N, hyping Nipsey up. To most folks, it looked like a smart creative move. Nipsey respected that classic East Coast flavor and wanted to bring that cinematic energy into his own music. It was about honoring greatness, right? But Gene sees something deeper, something symbolic. He thinks Nipsey asking for that Biggie sound wasn't just about production. It was like aligning himself with a whole legacy, one that's got a dark cloud hanging over it. Remember, Life After Death dropped right after Biggie got murdered. It became a legendary album, but also a symbol of tragic timing. So when Nipsey started chasing that same vibe, it's got people wondering, did he accidentally step into a blueprint that's been haunted by pain as much as it's been praised? Most people in the game will tell you Nipsey was just inspired. He admired Diddy's ear for timeless music and wanted that energy to power Victory Lap. Nothing shady, just real hip-hop respect. But still, some can't help but notice the eerie pattern. When you really think about it, Diddy was right there during some of the most crucial moments in both Biggie and Nip's careers. That alone makes people raise an eyebrow. Then throw in all the whispers about blackmail, secret parties, and hidden agendas in the industry, suddenly things start sounding a lot more suspicious. Gene Deal and others have claimed that Diddy didn't just party with his artists, he allegedly kept receipts, footage from wild private events, people in compromising situations, all locked away to use as leverage. Stuff like that gets used to control artists, keep them in line, or shut them up if they start stepping out of bounds. Look what happened with Cassie. The way things played out there showed just how much Diddy understands this game and how far he's willing to go to protect his image and power. But Nipsey wasn't built for that kind of system. He was independent. He owned his masters and he stayed 100% committed to his message. That kind of realness makes you wonder if Nipsey became a threat to the whole setup. And Wack 100 low-key backed up some of what Gene Deal said. He didn't straight up blame Diddy for Nip's death, but he did mention how Nip's record sales didn't really pop off until a year after he died. That's cold. Now some say the real smoke might be with Big U. Unlike the Diddy talk, this one's got some actual evidence, depending on who you believe. Big U is a serious name in LA. Some call him a street legend, others say he's a mastermind business boss. But Wack has got no doubts. He swears Big U is a full-blown puppet master, and maybe even worse.
Snake. You know, it's just what it is. He's a snake. I can say the same thing about you and the few people used to be here. You're gonna feel strongly about it because you went through what you went through, right?
Big U isn't just some random name. He's that guy in LA, in hip-hop circles, and gang politics. His name holds real weight, deep ties to the streets, serious pull in the music industry, and a rep that makes people either fall in line or stay far away. When it comes to Nipsey Hussle, this wasn't just business. It was personal. Back in the early days, Big U and Nip were tight. When Nipsey first landed his deal with Epic Records, Big U was the one guiding him through the chaos. He used real street clout from the Rolling 60s Crips to protect Nip and help him move smart through LA's messy street politics and the industry maze. That bond opened a lot of doors. It gave Nip the backing he needed to make waves and survive in a game that chewed people up quick. But as Nip started bossing up, and building his own lane, that alliance started cracking. Independence brought tension, and soon the streets were buzzing with rumors. Word was Nipsey felt like Big U was boxing him in, trying to control his every move. And when Nip tried to break free from Big U's label ties, things got ugly. Whispers started about Big U wanting a bigger slice of Nip's growing empire, and when he didn't get it, the tension exploded. Big U's name has been tied to a lot of wild stories over the years, and depending who you ask, he's either a street legend or someone you don't want to cross, ever. In LA, especially in the rolling 60s territory, folks in the industry have said if you wanted to move through that zone safely, you had to check in with Big U. Translation, you had to pay up. People have called it a street tax, and Big U was running it like a straight-up business. He booked artists, cut deals, and basically made himself a gatekeeper for anyone trying to level up in that part of the city. If you weren't good with Big U, your movement was limited. But here's where it gets even deeper. Some say Big U didn't build all that power by himself. There's a whole theory floating around that he was being backed by bigger players. Not just music execs, but possibly even dirty cops. The fact that Big U was able to operate so openly despite his criminal past and all the heat around him has got people thinking maybe he had serious protection in high places. Now, with recent RICO talk and folks accusing him of running a mafia-style setup through his nonprofit, it's got people saying he might have finally pushed things too far.
The energy around Big U has always been murky. On one side, he had the juice to get artists booked and make things happen. On the other, he had people scared. Rappers like Skipper have openly accused him of extortion, flexing his connections, and even setting up violence. It's no surprise some folks think Big U's power play wasn't just about business. It might have been about control, fear, and something way darker. And then there's Wack 100. Never one to hold back. He's made it clear that Big U knew exactly how to move with power in LA. But he also dropped some hints that Big U wasn't always the top dog. According to Wack, there were times Big U was just a plug, or even a pawn, someone used by bigger bosses to get certain jobs done behind the scenes. Their relationship was strictly business, and once it stopped being useful to either one of them, it crumbled. Wack once said something along the lines of, "Yeah, Big U is the gatekeeper in LA, but don't get it twisted. Sometimes he wasn't calling the shots. He was just the middleman." So what was Big U really? A mastermind pulling strings, or just another piece in a much bigger game?
Now, with this whole RICO situation heating up, we might finally start seeing some real truths come to light. And when it comes to Nipsey, one of the realest to ever do it, it's tough to say who had more influence over how everything played out. Big U or Diddy? But one thing's for sure, both of them moved like gatekeepers, and Nipsey might have ended up stuck right in the middle of a power war. So what do you think? Was it about power, profit, control, or something way darker? Drop your take in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.